Today, we're going to learn about argument paragraphs, when to use them, and how to write them. You can find this document on your Google Classroom through your Google Drive and in hard copy in class. An argument paragraph isn't just for arguing, so you might not use this to fight with your siblings per se, but argumentative writing is used to make a point and strengthen it with facts. There are 5 parts to an argument paragraph. The first part is a claim, which tells readers what you are going to be arguing. When writing your claim, it's important to state it as if it is a fact. The claim orients readers and lets them know what point you will be making and the point you'll be defending throughout the next paragraph. Next, you'll provide evidence that will support your opinion. In most cases, this evidence will be quotes from literature or an article we've read. Your evidence should be well explained and justified, leaving nothing to the imagination. Be sure to cite your sources, too. This next part can be where it gets tricky. It's called a counterclaim, and in a counterclaim, you will acknowledge the opposing side of your argument. You might think that this would weaken your argument, but instead, it shows that your opinion is well-formed and well-researched. You will even include a quote or some kind of evidence in support of this opposite side. This part of your paragraph should introduce the other side by saying something like, while some may say, and the opposing side, or it can be argued that, and again that opposing side. Then part 4 is to strengthen your side even further. It's called a rebuttal. This part of your paragraph will refute the counterclaim and make your argument stand out as the stronger one. In this section, you will rely on your previous evidence, remember that's part 2, and this evidence will remind readers to say, but still, I'm right, or in reality, I'm right. In other words, you're reminding readers that I am still right. Finally, part 5 is going to make you run away with this argument. You'll write a brief summary or a wrap-up that reminds readers of why your claim is irrefutable. Your wrap-up should be a summary of your claim and counterclaim. And ultimately, it shows readers why you're correct in believing what you believe. Below, you'll find a sample paragraph that's been color-coded for your reference. In this argument paragraph, I'll be talking about a work that we've already read, the Odyssey. My claim states that the Cyclops' treatment of Odysseus and his men was reprehensible. He had no respect for the Greek custom of hospitality. That's my claim, which is basically just my opinion on the subject. Next, I move on to my evidence, which is exactly the place that I can support my opinion. I'll do this through using quotes and relevant facts from the text. You'll see here that I put in citations, which mean that I quoted directly from the text, and readers can go back and see exactly where I found that information from. You'll notice that I also back up my evidence with explanations that make it clear to readers that I have done a good job of researching my opinion. Now here's where it might get tricky. I move on to my counterclaim that's going to acknowledge the opposite side of my argument. I've written, some may defend the Cyclops' actions. After all, Odysseus and his men entered his home uninvited with the intent to take some of the cheeses, come back again, and the next time to drive the lambs and the kids from their pen. And see, I cite the opposite side as well to show readers that I have a very well-formed opinion. He even went so far as to ask the Cyclops if he might give us a guest present or otherwise some gift of grace, for such is the right of strangers, and see another citation. The Cyclops had every right to defend himself against these unwanted intruders who wanted to steal his possessions, yet demanded his kindness. After acknowledging the opposite side through my counterclaim, it's time for me to make my point even stronger through a rebuttal. I write, still, the Cyclops' violent response to Odysseus was not justified. That's kind of like me restating my claim. Odysseus had no intent to harm the Cyclops until after the Cyclops trapped and began killing the men. The Cyclops had the size and strength to force Odysseus from the cave and off the island with no provisions for their journey. The violence was not necessary to teach Odysseus that he cannot help himself to others' possessions. There in my rebuttal, I make it clear that my claim is correct and that all of the evidence that I've supplied makes it so. Finally, I wrap up my whole paragraph in a summary that basically says, the Cyclops had good reason to defend himself against Odysseus and the men, but his behavior went too far. In the end, his violent reaction made him appear to be a malevolent creature rather than a victim of a crime. This is the perfect way to wrap up my paragraph and make sure that all of my readers are aware that my claim is well researched and justified, and that I ultimately am correct. Now you're ready to write your own argument paragraph.